Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Motivation with D. I woke up this morning with a renewed spirit, with a renewed mind. We're going to call this Truthful Tuesday, right? Because I told you guys I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to be transparent with you without compromising the integrity of other people. I'm going to share with you some of my hurt, some of my trauma, some of my challenges, but I'm also going to just share with you ways that we can cope together to move forward in this season. So on this Truthful Tuesday, I want to talk about not looking back. A few days ago, we spoke about, because I feel like this is interactive. Although you're not with me at this moment, you're going to be with me at some point. So I'm speaking life into existence. A few days ago, we talked about closing doors and nailing them shut and triple locking it and things of that sort because it's necessary. I'm cognizant enough to know that just because I close the door doesn't mean I'm not tempted to look back, to call back, to spin back, to reach out, to second think if I made the right decision. Should I have locked that door? Was it so bad? He didn't really beat me like I thought he did. They only cheated on me 20 times. Yeah, I got an STD, but it was curable. It could have been worse. I lost everything, but it's okay. They love me. Yeah, my job wants me to work 80 hours a week, but guess what? I got a 1% bonus. We are no longer going to accept mediocrity in 2023. We are no longer going to justify the abuse and the trauma that people evoke on our lives and hold ourselves accountable to make sure that we don't also go and evoke trauma and abuse on other people's lives. We closed the door. So why are we looking back? Why are we thinking about what we put behind that closed door? Close the door. We walked away, but then our memory, our fickle emotions, we're human beings, we have emotions, we think, we second guess, we contemplate, we seek counsel with the wrong people who will tell us, oh, a known devil is better than an unknown angel. I rebuke that. Give me an opportunity to find my unknown angel because I already know what that devil's going to do to me. Been there, done that, is closed. The mind has a very challenging job in storing all of our memories. Just imagine, I'm 46 years old. My brain, my mind, the neurons, they have to remember 46 years worth of stuff. At times when we go through traumas, we block out what we don't need to remember because the body needs to heal. The body is sophisticated enough to know I got to block this out or it's going to impact my cardiovascular system, reproductive system, my vision. I'm going to have some type of visual situation. When the brain knows that there's too much trauma, there's too much hurt, there's too much disappointment, it will supernaturally, clinically, ask any neurologist, ask any transplant clinician. It will heal itself in a way to move certain traumas out to give you some good memories. But what happens with that, we have to be careful. When the traumas are removed out and then the brain starts giving us the good memories, we start to forget. So really we close the door because the traumas were up here and the goodness was here. But as time goes on, this is what happens. It wasn't that bad. They loved me. And then before you know it, you forget about the hurt and your mind starts to pretend that it was good. So I want to talk this morning about don't look back. Got to put some Bible on it, guys. You know where I come from. Go to the Quran, go to the Torah, go to whatever book you read, whatever your higher power. If you don't read a book, Google something. But don't look back. In the Bible in Genesis, now Genesis is the beginning for all of you people who study the word, and those who don't know the word. Genesis is the beginning. It's the first book of the Bible. And there's a story about Lot and Lot's wife. And during a time, there was a place called Sodom and Gomorrah, which could be easily our country at this moment. But Sodom and Gomorrah, there was so much nasty going on. God was upset about it. And God gave Lot instructions to take his family and flee because he was going to destroy the city. And he gave them specific instructions. When you leave, don't look back. When God gives us the instructions, you can say God. I'm going to say God because that's my creator. I know where my hearing comes from. I know my walk with him. But it could be your inner voice. It could be your third eye. Whatever you associate with, whatever it is, listen to it. When you're given instruction from a higher being, a higher calling to say, leave it, run away, escape, don't take nothing, and don't go back, listen. Sometimes we get ourselves in situations where we're like, how did we get here? Because we didn't listen. Because there were so many red flags. There were so many warning signs. There was so much caution. We ignored it. We were walking in the ruby red factory of red flags, y'all. And we ignored it. We ignored it looking for one little white thing to say, I see white. But the whole room is covered in red, but you see white. So we ran to the white to justify why we stayed. Lot escaped with his wife, and just as they're leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's wife looked back. Looking back is a sign that you're remorseful of what you're leaving. You're uncertain. You might miss it. It's not clear what direction you're going in. She looked back. And when she looked back, Genesis 19:24, if you want to read the story, she turned into a pillar of salt. To this day, that pillar is still there. When Lot's wife looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt in Genesis. When God took Moses, who led his people out of Egypt, and we're talking about Exodus, do the Bible, y'all, do your books, go look up the Torah, look up the Quran, follow the story. When Moses came along, which is way after Lot's wife, Sodom and Gomorrah, Moses saw the pillar of salt of Lot's wife when he was sent to look in the land of Canaan. God will close some doors and discipline us in our beginning season because he knows what he has promised for us. The people of Israel were promised the land of milk and honey. And when God sent them to the land of milk and honey, they saw giants in the land and they became afraid. And this could preach. Caleb is one of my favorite names. I was going to name my son Caleb, but because of the Caribbean upbringing, I thought of something different. Caleb. I want to have a soul like Caleb. When everybody else was like, there's giants there. Yes, there's milk, there's honey. All the promises of God are right there. Caleb said, let me get my sword because I will do. I'm ready. Caleb was ready. And because of Caleb's faithfulness and his tenacity and his rebelliousness against the status quo, God honored Caleb. So he was the only elder from the original Exodus group that was able to get into the promised land, y'all. Read it. I'm paraphrasing, but read it. And I'm saying all of that to say that when you're in a situation that's not good, when I'm in a situation that's not good, God gives us instructions, our intuition, our instincts. He tells us, wait, he will disturb your spirit. It happened to me just yesterday. I was going about my day and I just had this deep, dark feeling. And God said, stop. You need to do this. You need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because if you don't do that, it's going to adversely impact you and it's going to railroad you to where you're going. And I thank God for the person that I report to. She is a phenomenal resource, regardless of work. She said, no, Dee, forget about work right now. Go take care of what you got to take care of. And I'm not disclosing that because it's none of anybody's business, but I'm just sharing with you that even in this season of motivation, I still have things that I have to go through. My life is not perfect. I have pain. I cry. I get angry. I get big. I become like a giant. I become like a Caleb. What? That neck will flip. From Genesis to Exodus, Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt because she was disobedient to God. Don't yearn or want the things that's going to cause you to live a lifetime as a pillar. What is a pillar, D? I knew y'all were going to ask me that. A pillar is a bridge between heaven and earth, right? It's a bridge, right? So a bridge, we cross over. It helps us move forward. She became a pillar of salt. God said, because of your disobedience, you're going to be a representation of what happens when people don't obey me. She became a pillar of salt. Moses saw the pillar of salt of Lot's wife when God showed him the land of Canaan. Moses didn't get to Canaan at that moment. People were disgruntled, disobedient, naysayers, pessimistic. They couldn't see it. Don't allow what you close behind the door to make you be remorseful, to look back, to prevent you from getting to your destiny. And as you're traveling to your destiny, don't let the naysayers prevent you from finally reaching your goal. It's 2023. We're taking off some shackles, y'all. This is the year of liberty. We are going to remove and rebel against anything that goes against our divine calling. Decree and declare that you, decree and declare that I. Let's join. Let's come together with this. We will not look back. because we don't want to be a pillar of salt that generations will remember our disobedience, right? It's deep. Y'all got to read, listen to stuff. I grew up early on the word, and it makes sense to me in this season like nobody's business. Remember, I love you. The Christ in me loves you. The God in me loves you. The mother, the sister, the friend. I love you. If nobody says they love you today, I love you because you're lovable. And although you struggle sometimes with looking back, trust the process. Canaan is that way. We're going to Canaan. We're going to the promised land. Whatever your promised land is, that new job, that new business, that new relationship, conceiving a new baby, whatever your Canaan is, whatever the promises of God is, that's where we're going. So let's get it done. Let's get her done. Have a good day. Take care.